We're still going to find out about this creativity from our African artist of the day, Shakespear Nkosi. Shakespeare is an 11-time award-winning sound engineer, record producer from Tembisa, which is a township right here on the other side of Johannesburg. His music career began in 2010. He has worked with the likes of Touchline, K.O. Questa, to name but a few. Let's find out more about this exciting African queen. Shakespear Nkosi, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play and a very good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very good, my brother. Thank you for coming and for coming on time. You're a good African. A lot of Africans can learn a lot from you because, you know, people have made African time a good way of life when it's not. It's never nice to be late for anything. It doesn't matter how small or big it is. It is always important to keep time because sometimes you'll lose great things because of you thought African time was a way of doing things. It's really never a way. Thank you so much. Let's get on to it. I was just listening to the very first song that we unrolled the red carpet for you with. Quite unique. At a point I was thinking, is he not maybe a nephew of one of the Ladysmith, the Black Mambazo legends? What's going on here?
So on this one, inganekwane ngisebenze nendoda bayibiza Umlani. Umlani, profession yakhe technically is being like a stage actor, you know. So he also does music. So music is secondary to him, but like it's actually very good. And on that song, it's literally just his voice. I engineered and produced that whole song. And how it came about is me literally always working Nomlani, and I started conceptualizing this project that I wanted to actually work on. And then I pitched the idea to him, and I was like, you know, one of these days we're gonna work on this song, and then we were working on Inganiwana, but like the first one was actually Push Us Tan. And when we were working on that, I'm like, I actually like this message, you know, it's got humor, it's got like a certain approach, and it's very African too, you know what I mean?
Good knowledge.
I feel like that is good export music, you know. I believe if you like a South African, you want to create music that when they listen to internationally, it's a flavor that literally only comes from Africa or South Africa. So that is the motivation behind it, and I'm a big fan. I also have like a good choir background, you know. So when I was working on that, it was like a very interesting dynamic because, as you can hear, there's multiple voices. You can hear a soprano, second soprano, alto, tenor, and bass on it, you know what I mean? And it was a good challenge because I'm not really that used to recording a cappellas and whatnot. So it was a very interesting song to work on.
How old? 13 years ago.
13 years ago, I was literally 13 years younger. How old was I? 2010, I was 19. I was 19.
Wow.
Yes.
And this is where the real juice and jam of your music came to picture.
Yes.
What really happened in 2010, except for the 2010 FIFA World Cup, in as far as Shakespear Nkosi is concerned?
What happened is that was like literally after matric. I was going into tertiary, and I had friends, you know, that were working on music at the same time. So whenever I had like a school break or whatever the case, when I go back home, my friends would come through. I had this room, you know, where I used to, because was actually studying architecture. So that's where I would, you know, do my drawings and whatnot. But like I also had like a computer and speakers. So my friends would come through, we'd chill there and whatnot, and they were musicians. So ended up deciding, why not actually start a studio? Because my friends always had to come through to Joburg, or they go to Benoni and wherever to record and whatnot. So that inspired us to actually build a studio and whatnot. It was like very simple, very basic, just a computer, dynamic microphone.
You worked with what you had?
Yes, we worked with what we literally had at that time, yes.
Wow, lovely stuff. And you also touched on the fact that you've got a background of a choir.
Yes.
Where was this and when?
As long as I literally remember, first time I was in choir, I was probably 6 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
And you started at that age?
Yes. I was doing drama and choir, I think in preschool or something like that. So I've always loved those things, you know, and no one convinced me, you know.
And when you got to primary school, you continued where you left off at preschool?
Literally.
Wow. So you even had to choose a proper primary school that caters for your love?
Well, I guess my mother did not have that privilege of maybe knowledge or whatnot, but she did do her best to put me at least in a school that was like adequate enough to provide those type of extracurricular activities, you know what I mean?
What does music do to you?
Talk to me beyond just words. My company is called Seventh Wave Records and Entertainment. You know, I like describing the name behind it. You know, seventh wave, and seven is like a number of perfection, and waves, obviously, that's music, and almost anything works in waves. You know, even water, and those are two very powerful things. So music talks to you beyond just your ears too. It touches your body. So when you're listening to negative music, when you're listening to down music, when you're listening to positive music or up tempo music, it literally affects your mood without you even noticing it. And you ask yourself, why am I feeling down all of a Sunday? Or why am I feeling great all of a Sunday? Why am I feeling in love all of a Sunday? You know what I mean? That's what music literally does to you.
Wow, beautiful stuff indeed. And I see your work, Shakespeare featuring Touchline, King Sweet Kid, Zolile, Amasi. Please tell us more about these people that you've worked with before we even listen to more of your work.
Very talented people, all three of them, very, very talented people. I started working with Touchline first, and then Zolile second, because Zolile was working with Touch and I was working with Touch, so we were working together at that time. And then I think around 2018 or 19, that's when I got introduced to King Sweet Kid, another very talented artist. And yeah, we were in studio together. It was actually a session that was set up by Sweet Kid and Touch to come to record by my studio. And I had this concept, you know, I think it was like right after the pandemic. Already had the idea that I want to actually make music of my own, because for the past decade I've just been working on other people's music. I now want my intellectual property, and I want to get my own ideas, you know, going out there type of thing. And that idea had already been there. So on that day I was like, actually, let me also check if I can't, after they're done with their song, I can't also work on a song with them type of thing. And then I listened to a couple of beats that Zulile had sent to me maybe like a month ago. And I noticed this one beat, which happened to be the Amasi beat. Before it was, you know, touched up and whatever the case, but like it was sounding phenomenal. And when I heard it, I was like, I'm definitely working on this. So when I went to the studio, Touch was just, you know, conceptualizing and whatnot. I was like, Touch, listen to this beat that Zolile sent to me. He's like, oh, Zolile actually sent me that beat too. I was like, bro, this is what I want to work on, you know? So when you guys are done, I want us to work on Amasi, this song or whatnot. So when Sweet Kid got there, I was like, Sweet Kid, I also want to work on another song. Listen to this beat. And he gravitated towards it. And we ended up not even working on the other songs. It literally became an Amasi session. And there was like a couple of people that were there in studio. So it was a vibe. The energy that you hear on the song is literally what was happening in the studio as we were recording, conceptualizing, and all those different ideas you're probably going to hear from now.
Let's find out about the energy on Amasi. This is a song by our African artist of the day, the African king himself, Shakespear Nkosi. We're still going to find out more. Well, Nkosi is king in English, so it means I'm good with interpretations. Shakespeare featuring Touchline, King Sweet Kid, Zolile, and the song is called Amasi. Let's find out about this phenomenal work that our African artist of the day keeps talking about, and of course the energy on board. Let's talk about those days where you really wanted to put your own music together, but somehow it looked like there's too many humps and potholes, but here you are, you managed to overcome all of those.
Yes, most definitely. It was a long time coming. You know, I would make an example, although it's like very far-fetched, because I'm going to talk about a legend, Dr. Dre, one of the people that I actually look up to. You know, me working on my project was almost like the Chronic, you know, how we always waited for the Chronic to come and it just never came. And it was like that because everyone just kept on convincing me, like, Shakes, you need to have a compilation, you need to. I was like, I think I want to actually be very involved in the music that I put out. I don't want a song that's already existent and just put it out, you know. If it is existent, it must be a song that I had worked on and a concept that I gravitate towards. So the pandemic came and I had a lot of time on my hands, you know, in two ways. I had a lot of time in studio. I can't work with artists. They can't come through the social distancing. And at the very same time, I'm immobilized. And I started realizing I actually need more intellectual property, you know, something that can keep on going even when you can't go to gigs, you can't do certain things that can bring in logistics type of thing. And it officially happened because it was actually supposed to drop this year, February. But my grandmother died and that completely changed all of the plans. You know, may her soul rest in peace.
Yeah, may her soul rest in peace. How do you miss her?
I do. I definitely miss my grandmother, you know, even where the studio's at is her house type of thing, you know. So it's kind of empty. but I know she's probably influencing a lot of things that are probably happening now, because I also believe in ancestors, not just God only.
Yeah. Have you worked on any project that sort of acknowledges her? You know, for a old lady that was there in your life, teaching you a whole lot of things that you now know, and you've even translated some of it to English, and it sounds like your own intellectual property when it's hers.
Yes, that's very true. I'm definitely working on it. I believe in taking time on art, because art should live forever. And I don't want to just quickly make a song, just a tribute song or whatnot, you know. You will also notice on Uyabayega, we're paying homage to Pro Kid and City Lights, you know, at the very end. And the song was done literally, I think, last year, if not last year, before we lost so many more influential people. So by that I mean I really pay like a lot of attention and spend a lot of time perfecting my art, you know. So I'm just also trying to learn the balance between getting work done and perfecting the art, because also when you want to perfect the arts, the job is never out there and complete.
Talk to me about Winner's Circle.
Yes. Venus Circle is a very exciting one. You know, it's existed for like a very, very long time. Initially, it was Touch, you know, that was planning to drop it, you know, and then we changed ownership. It became mine, type of thing. And Winner Circle literally stands for everyone, you know, that I rub shoulders with, that I work with, my friends, everyone is a
Does that
winner.
include V?
Definitely includes V, you know.
Lovely stuff.
We were together, we were doing bowling last week, Thursday, you know, and a lot of my friends, was also my birthday, you know. So I believe Winner Circle literally stands for that. You're also a winner, because I believe where you are right now is not where you were last year. So
Good
Winner
knowledge.
Circle stands for that, you know what I mean? Also stands for gaming, you know what I mean?
Fantastico. Africa and the world, we are all part of Winner's Circle, especially if you continue to believe that good times will come and you do not give up because things aren't going your way. At times, you will give up just when you are on the edge of actually seeing miraculous results that you've always been looking forward to. Let's enjoy Winner's Circle by Shakespeare featuring Touchline together with Must Be Dubs. It must be an
Get to
album.
know African talent.
We don't squat cans, but we had to get up, we had to make a plan. Yeah, sure. My girl is to die for. Swing along the machines, grab machine, boy, we winning with our eyes closed.
Our African artist of the day, the African king, Shakespear Nkosi. Talk to me about the name Shakespeare. Is it your original name or stage name?
Igama NPO Mawam. Ligo ID, my other name is actually Mfano Figil, you know, so both the names, you know, I for her, you know, they hold very great significance, and it seems to also come true in my own life.
Wow. Did you make an effort to go through the books of Shakespeare?
To be honest, I like the ideas and concepts that Shakespeare had in his books. I just don't really comprehend the English they utilize a lot. Thou shalt, art, whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't find the significance of why should it be hard for me to. I believe when you're communicating, communication should be broken down to the simplest form.
Good knowledge.
You know, words are not even enough to explain everything that we want to explain. So to even complicate words, you're making it very hard to communicate. So I love the concepts and the stories that he has. Was a very gifted guy, but like I just don't like the way he wrote the his stories, type of thing. You know.
How far do you want your music to go?
I wanted to go across the globe. As I said, that I feel like music is beyond language. You know, I wanted to go across the globe. I want it to change people's lives, whether they are aware of it or it's happening subconsciously. I want my music to be like very impactful, and it has nothing to do with me. You know, even my presence here, my purpose here is beyond me. So all I need to do is just play my purpose here on earth before my time is up.
How is it living in Tembisa?
Tembisa is like one of the three, you know, most notorious hoods in the country, type of thing. But I guess I grew up there, you know. For me, it's like very normal, you know. I don't spend a lot of time in the street, but I'm very familiar with the streets. And now and again, you notice this and that, you know, happening and whatnot. So you have to be connected, and you get to be like very street smart. But I noticed that there's a lot of diamonds in the rough. There's a lot of gaps, you know, that need to be filled. And there's a lot of people that are troubled, They travel from a very young age. They're not even aware of it, type of thing. And we definitely need our leadership to be a little bit more involved with developmental, activities and stuff that are happening. I don't know, we're missing like a budget, or we're actually missing an initiative, but like we definitely need them. And it's not just Tembisa. When I tour, when we gig and whatnot, we go to Katlehong, we go to many hoods, and they're similar, so I'm just playing my part in noticing talent musically and trying my best to see if I can help out in that department. But like there's so many other departments that actually need assistance. So our leadership definitely needs to do
Up
the right
their
thing.
game.
Yes.
And talking about leadership up in their game, have you thought of putting that down to some of your music projects so that when a song is out there, it will speak exactly to what you are raising, but also perhaps even coming up with suggestions? Because sometimes it's almost like an athlete who's on the track or who's on the field of play. It's quite easy to pick up that, no, man, this is where you were supposed to bring in a cross earlier than rounding the ball. Now you've wasted time and the opponent's defense were able to cover up, kind of vibe. You are able to see it better from the stands or from outside versus when you are in there. I'm not protecting them, but I'm saying so that we don't have a scenario where you raise concerns, but they just don't go anywhere. At least in music, because music is legacy. Even when you are no more, you will continue living through the work that you've left behind.
I feel like that's a very profound question and statement that you also just mentioned right now. The way I see it is, before you execute anything, you need to hit the drawing board. And then after the drawing board, call in your soldiers, have a meeting. So in my perspective right now, we're still having a meeting. It's very hard to do something we want, umuntu ngabantu. So right now I'm having a meeting with my music, getting more people, coming together, with enough influence. Then we are able to actually create maybe a song. And I believe, actions should also be like beyond just music. You should actually stand for what you say, so we can create that music and then bring the people together, and we can actually go to the streets and fight for what we want, because anything that's ever changed in this country happened physically, not on social media, not by talking about it or whatnot. So I do feel like we also we in soft times. There's a saying that I know that says, tough times create, hard times creates hard men, and hard men create soft times, and soft times create hard times. So we in soft times. That's why things are very hard, because people now are soft. No one is willing to go out there and protest. No one is willing to actually challenge nobody, like physically and whatnot. We can just write it on Twitter. So we definitely need to, work on it, and everything starts on the drawing board. And I believe right now we're just having a meeting, because the drawing board now is out, the project is out, thoughts become things. So what you think shall come to fruition, you know what I mean? But you also have to act on it. So in due time, I believe we're going to act on it. And
who do you think your music addresses in terms of age groups?
I'm definitely talking to anyone from the age of 6 years old.
Wow.
To abogogo nabomkhulu, man, like at bamamela Black Mambazo and whatnot. I don't like limiting my music to a certain group, but obviously you could hear maybe a couple of songs that would fit maybe age group between the age of 16 and maybe 42 or 45 type of thing. But like generally my music, I believe it should from the age of 6 years old up until up there in the 80s or whatnot. It's a pity my granny's gone. I would like to play her the music, because I believe she would have loved it.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff indeed. Where in Africa have you been, and how did you find it, if you've been anywhere?
I haven't really crossed the border. Well, kind of crossed the border when we went to Swaziland. But Swaziland is like within the range and radius of South Africa. So I haven't crossed the border yet, but like I believe that's something that's going to happen very, very soon, because I'm very adventurous and I love traveling, and my thoughts shall become things very, very soon.
What did you like to say to an African child in Kigali, Rwanda, in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, in Lusaka, Zambia, in Beira, Mozambique, You know, you can think of any other place in Africa, in Ghana, you know, in Lagos, in Nigeria.
Never allow naysayers, people that also left their dreams behind, to tell you that you're unable to do it. No matter how close they are, they could be family, they could be your parents, they could be like close friends, they could be your spouse. Never allow any single person to tell you that you are unable to do it, you know, and just follow the brand Nike. Just do it, and it shall come together.
Fantastico. As we wrap up this conversation, I'm certain there's people who are listening to our conversation that would like to continue following you. How do they go about it?
On Facebook, I'm Shakespear Nkosi. On Twitter, I'm Shakes_7th Wave. So 7th Wave is the number 7, THWAVE. And on Instagram, which is like threads to Shakespeare. So it's Shakespeare without the E, _7, the number THWAV without the E at the end. And if you literally just go to the Facebook, which should be the simplest to find, Shakespeare Nkosi, you're going to find the link to pretty much everything that I've done.
Are you where you want to be, or there's still a long way to go?
A very long way to go. If it was up to me, God would give me like 900 more years, because I
Oh,
have
yeah?
a lot of concepts. You know.
Wow.
But I'm going to do what I can do while I'm still alive.
Anything that you're currently working on that's under the carpet?
I believe maybe I still want to keep it under the carpet, but but we are working on music videos. You know, I'm also working on a music video for Uyabayega. It's a very strong song. It's a very, you know, hard-hitting personal song. So I want to give it stronger legs, and I feel like it's sensitive, and I want to see what's the best way to execute the music video. You know, I'm working on a couple of events for next year. So as soon as everything is ready, we're just going to execute and let the people know.
Any gigs this December?
Yes, after this, we have the Aries Effect, which is in Zone 6. That's where we're going to be going after the interview. And then after that, we're going to Free State, which is also today. So those are the 2 gigs. I don't know if there's any that I'm forgetting, but yeah, even yesterday we were doing one in Tembisa Hangout, which is Shimza's spot, called Hennessy and Energy. And the reception was great. So next week, Saturday, we are doing Durban. So there's quite a couple, but maybe not as many as last year. But I believe as December goes and progresses, there's going to be more.
Good times will come indeed.
Yes.
Your final word?
My final word is alignment, because right now I'm in the zone of meditation, you know, and spirituality. And I realize that we're so affected by the information on social media and a lot of things that are happening outside, you know. So I believe people should go inside, you know, and align spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. You don't have to be the best at it, but like just be aligned, and that will bring you peace. And the more peaceful people we have, the better the world.
Beautiful stuff for Africa and the entire world. That's how we wrap up our conversation with our African artist of the day, the African king himself, Shakespear Nkosi, as we continue to get to know Africa.